All right, today we're diving into the story of a true icon, a musical revolutionary and a political firebrand whose voice is still echoing decades after his death. We're talking about the one, the only, Fela Kuti.
And what kicked this whole thing off is some pretty historic news. In 2025, the Recording Academy announced that Fela Kuti would be the very first African musician to ever receive the Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award, a huge deal.
Okay, but get this. Here's the twist, the incredible paradox at the heart of his story. This lifetime honor is for a man who, in his entire life, never even got a single Grammy nomination. So, how does that happen? How does an artist go from being completely ignored by the establishment to being celebrated by them forever?
And just to give you an idea of how huge this honor is, look at the company he's in now. This award puts Fela Kuti right up there on the same pedestal as the Beatles, Bob Marley, Aretha Franklin, and Johnny Cash. I mean, we're talking about the absolute titans of music history. You know, his fellow African music legend Youssou N'Dour really said it best. He called Fela's music a fearless voice that carried truth, resistance, and freedom across generations. And that quote, it perfectly captures the three pillars of his entire life: the art, the fight, and the legacy. So, to really understand the man, we have to start with the music he literally created from scratch, which brings us to Section 1, the sound of Afrobeat.
So what is Afrobeat exactly? Well, Fela invented it. It's this powerful, incredible fusion of sound. It's built on these super complex, layered rhythms, songs that could just go on, and most importantly, lyrics that were completely 100% political.
And this guy didn't just bend the rules of music. He completely shattered them. His bands were massive, sometimes over 30 musicians on stage at once. He used wild setups, like 2 bass guitars playing at the same time. He sang in Nigerian pidgin English so he could connect with everyday people all across the continent. And his songs, well, they weren't your typical 3-minute radio hits. Some of them went on for over 40 minutes, creating these amazing immersive worlds of sound.
But you know, the sound itself was only half the story. The message became just as powerful, maybe even more so. It's what earned him that famous nickname, the Black President. And that brings us right into Section 2, the Black President Awakens.
His political journey really caught fire back in 1969. He took a trip to the United States and connected with activists from the Black Panther Party, and that just lit something up inside him. By the late 70s, he was at the absolute peak of his activism against the government, which led to some truly brutal consequences. And he never backed down from that fight, right up until his death in 1997.
See, Fela didn't just realize his music could be a tool for change. He actively sharpened it into a weapon, and he wasn't afraid to use it. Welcome to Section 3, Music as a Weapon.
And this right here, this shows you everything you need to know about the war he was fighting. On one side, you have his message. He sang about truth. He called for resistance. He demanded freedom for the people. And on the other side, you have the Nigerian military government's response: repeated arrests, vicious violent attacks, and eventually the total destruction of his entire compound in Lagos. It's like the louder his music got, the more brutally they tried to shut him up. But here's the thing, they couldn't silence him, not really. And that's the whole point. His voice, his music, and his fight, they all outlived him and the very regimes that tried to crush him. So let's explore this in our final section, an immortal legacy. Let's circle back to where we started. In his entire prolific, groundbreaking career, the number of Grammy nominations Fela Kuti received was exactly 0. Just let that sink in. Not a single one. The official institutions, the powers that be in music, they just weren't listening.
But history always gets the last word, doesn't it? After he died, his legendary album, Zombie, was put into the Grammy Hall of Fame. His own kids have carried on his legacy, earning multiple Grammy nominations themselves. And all around the world, he's now seen as this powerful symbol of an artist who refused to be broken. And it all leads up to that 2025 Lifetime Achievement Award, the final proof that his influence was just too powerful to ignore forever.
So we end with this question. Fela Kuti's story really shows us that true impact isn't about the awards you win in your lifetime, it's about the change you spark and the message that just refuses to die. It really makes you wonder, what makes a voice powerful enough to echo decades after it's been silenced?